Hello, Goddess Body Mind Spirit community. This is your Goddess Guru, Iyala Risha, and Priestess of the Sacred Feminine Mysteries, here to share a word of inspiration with you on your path to self realization and self mastery. I hope that you all are doing well. And so I just wanted to come on really quickly and ask who set their new moon intentions, new moon in Libra. So, what does Libra have to do with? We talked about it last week. It's all about relationships, it's about contracts, and it's typically one-to-one relationships. A lot of times when we're thinking Libra, we're thinking our boo thing. Um, but it's just relationships in general, one-to-one relationships, significant relationships. So we really and truly need to be sort of evaluating, because that's something else that Libra's really good at, evaluating things. The other thing that I find so fascinating about Libra is, it's ruled by the energy Venus, which is who? Who is Venus? Venus is Oshun. And so it's like this really ocean time. It's always Venus is always somewhere. But sometimes let me just put this on hold real quick. I just want to say, if I haven't said this before, a lot of us keep up with the moon. So new moon in Libra. We're talking about the moon. Next month, the new moon will be in what? Scorpio. But as those of us that like to be in sync with the feminine powers that be, we should keep up with what is my sister Venus doing, because Venus is the moon. I mean, the Venus is Oshun. The moon is Yemonja. And to be honest with y'all, we gotta give Oya Mars, okay? And these are all really important planets. I would say also y'all don't sleep on Mercury. But anywho, let's just go back to Venus, because I'm getting off tangent and telling y'all too much of my thoughts. So what I find to be interesting is that right now Venus is doing her thing. We got a big thing going on with Venus. She's in Scorpio with Jupiter, and she's retrograde. So not only are we looking at relationships from Libra, and again, I'm sorry, I have something going on with my neck. I've got to go see my chiropractor. Not only do we have something going on, or do we look at relationships from Libra, which is really a nice sign. I mean, Libra is like, let's get along, relationships are important to me. Libras are charming, all that kind of good stuff. It's about having balance too. So Libras are going to be seeking to have that balance in the relationships and everything. So it's such a lovely place. But the actual planet that rules Libra is in Scorpio, and she's retrograde, which Scorpio is like, you know what? I need you to sit down. We're getting ready to dig a little deeper into this thing. So this is a time for us to really be digging deeply into relationships. And so, in keeping with the theme of this video, the question is, what are your goals? What are your lunar intentions during this cycle? Yes, because she'll be retrograde until around, I think, for a month. So top of November. I can't remember the exact date. So we should be setting some retrograde intention. Excuse me. We should be setting some lunar intentions regarding this Venus retrograde in Scorpio. As a woman, I would be looking at perhaps where do I need to go into my psyche and do some evaluation that would help me better express myself. Okay. And just everyone can do that, can go, maybe, for the men out there, you can look at it as going into your psyche to see how can you better get in touch with your feminine side. I'm trying. I think I mostly have women, but I do know I have a few men that chime in here, or whatever. Just generally speaking, because I know, there's this way that we describe things, men and women, and then there's those out there like, don't be putting me in no box, honey. Okay, I don't walk within that box. Just generally, we're looking at this aspect of Oshun within ourselves and really trying to see, where is Oshun toxic in my life? Am I eating too much sugar? Am I wasting my time doing things that really and truly, they might be fun, but they don't really profit me? Um, where am I slacking and really using my creative talents and gifts? Because, Shun has to do with that. Where perhaps do I need to do a nice little purge when it comes to bad spending habits? Where can I do better in my budget? And, maybe I need to heal my abundance consciousness. So, is there something perhaps in my abundant consciousness that is a wound? Because Scorpio has to do with the wound. Is there a wound inside of me that I perhaps need to address and heal up in my abundance consciousness as it relates to money, relationships, creativity, different things like that? So, I'm glad I made this video because I don't know if I actually wrote down any intentions like this. Now, this is generally speaking, if you know your chart, then you can get a little more specific. So if you're Scorpio rising, then what I said, everything I said applies to you. But some people may have the Scorpio in their second house. That would have more to do with money and what you value. Really looking at what you value, how you care for yourself. If it's in the third house, it might have to do with you need to address, and I can't talk sign right now. I'm just going to look at the houses. If you know your birth time, look and see where Scorpio, what house, what number is on that house of Scorpio. And it doesn't matter if it's whole sign Placidus, just go with whatever's there, what you see, because that gets complicated. But if it's the third house, it might have to do with like your communication. You might need to be doing something about social media. You want it too much. You need to really watch what you're doing on social media. And Scorpio, it's to a certain degree, it's about stuff that's under the surface and you can't see. It's sort of like the stuff that we think about with Scorpio is the things that we don't want anybody to see. We always talk about Scorpios, just like they're not showing you nothing if they can help it. It also has to do with, Scorpio has to do with trust. So you can think about areas where you lack trust. Maybe you lack trust in your abilities to speak if it's in the third house. If it's the fourth house, it may have something to do with your home. It may have something to do with your family, your ancestral lineage. Everything that I said, you just take it and apply it to that aspect of your life. If it's the fifth house, again, it is going to be about creativity, inspiration. And it could be maybe you need to really start getting into astrology as sort of like a hobby. I don't know. To me, astrology is not a hobby, but it's not like you're trying to do it like a career, but it's something you're highly interested in. And, if it's the sixth house, it might have something to do with your job or your health routines. If it's your seventh house, it might have to do with relationships. For real, for real. If Scorpio, that's for Taurus rising. That I do know. If Scorpio is in your seventh house, you're a Taurus rising. Loud Taurus. This is why y'all might have some issues with relationships. But it's time for you to look at your relationships. One-to-one business contracts. Scorpio also has to do with other people's resources. So, in all these areas, is there some other person's resource or some other group's resources that you should get access to that could help you? You can use it in some way that's helpful. Eighth house, just you transforming. That's Aries rising. You're really transforming. So I guess let's see here. Ninth house is going to be higher education and religion, travel. Maybe you need to go travel someplace old. These are the kinds of ways we look at how do I make this specific to my life. This is how I got into astrology. I was like, I need to figure out how to make it specific to me. So if you know your birth time, just go and look and see what number is in Scorpio. And like for me, I have like 3 numbers in Scorpio, but just look at one of them and this will help you. I'm almost done with this. 10th house is going to be your career and really your public image, what you really should be boss of. 11th house has to do with your social networks. 11th house has to do with your social networks and your gains. Also, if you're 9th house, you need to be looking at your goals in general. And 12th house, it's very spiritual for you. That's going to be Sagittarius. Sagittarius is 12th house. Some of them I can come up with and let y'all know what it is. But for Sagittarius, this is a very, very spiritually in tune time for you. Or if you just see 12 is in Scorpio, because sometimes it doesn't line up exactly like that. So I hope that this is helpful to you all with setting some new moon intentions and working with this energy of Oshun. Also, this Oshun in Scorpio, it's like Oshun is expressing herself as Scorpio, which means this is not necessarily a friendly Oshun. Scorpio is not friendly energy. This is obsessive energy. You might want to look at your obsessions. Hey, how you doing? Just know you inspire me, girl. I'm working on that thing that we're working on. I hope that you made it home safely, too. But Oshun wearing scorpionic clothes, we need to really look at, do we have obsessive relationships with something? That just stepped on my toes. And she's taking names and kicking butt. Let me just say it that way. You might be feeling a little extra spicy, like I'm not taking crap off of nobody right now. I'm going off on everybody. I've been noticing I'm starting to be that way. I'm not playing with folks. I'm not necessarily. Oh, good, Tracy. Glad y'all made it back safely. But I'm just not having it. You may find that. The main thing is, though, it's about evaluation. So we do have to be careful right now with this energy to put things in place, spiritual practices, because this is very spiritual energy. To put things in place, if you aren't doing your spiritual practices, those are some good goals to set for yourself. To put some things in place that perhaps will keep you focused on the right thing, focused on what really needs to change in your life, and not just cutting folks with the machete of Oshun in Scorpio, because Scorpio will cut you. And Scorpio actually is the kind that's like, is almost will torture you. And I'm Scorpio rising, so I can talk about Scorpio. Anyway, let's just govern ourselves, as they say in the church. Let's govern ourselves according to the announcements called New Moon in Libra and Venus in Scorpio retrograde. It's some other stuff going on, but I can't remember all of that. These are the 2 things that stood out for me. So keep me posted on how things are going. And I look forward to seeing y'all in the next video. Y'all take care. Please like the video. Please share the video. And if I can divine for you, please go to my website, goddessbodymindspirit.com, and go to the spiritual reading page. You can see my readings there and request one there. Thank you all so much. Peace.